He is the NBA's most unassuming superstar. Even though, like James, he was off to a start chosen by fate. Yet at the end, he was left with a lifetime without a crown. At the end of his career, despite finding himself in chaos, he stubbornly clung to his old school style of play. In this era where interest reigned supreme, he still stubbornly upheld the righteousness of the Jianghu. In Madison Square Garden, he beaten up Collins. In the 09 Western Conference Finals, entangled with the Black Mamba. 50 points from outside the three-point line in a game of slaughter along the South Coast. Single-handedly blocking the Celtics' bus. Anthony's professional career is full of imperfections. But he demonstrates heroic character to the end. When Wade returned home for his last dance, the jersey of a Celtic rose to the American Airlines Center. James won his 4th championship in Los Angeles. Anthony drew his sword in all directions. He was already a remnant of the old times. Ironically, when the league fully encouraged offense, the once offensive kaleidoscope could not find its place. When the signs of time crawl onto the brow, maybe Anthony will also sigh about the fate. But it doesn't matter. He can still choose to persist. With those 3 fingers that rang the victory song, riding a lofty passion that looks down upon everything. Don't worry if there's no friend on the road ahead. Who in this world doesn't know you? In 1992, 8-year-old Anthony moved from Brooklyn to Baltimore. Because his father died too early, his mother was under pressure of life. Had to bring 4 children to this shanty town filled with crime. Most of the playgrounds in Baltimore were occupied by gangsters. Anthony, in order to play basketball, naturally mixed with these people. You can imagine all the horrifying things. During his growth process, he saw them all. Where human freedom is least valued, hero worship always prevails. And Anthony on the basketball court is that invincible superhero. In his senior year of high school, his height suddenly surged to 2 meters. He led Oak Hill High School to an impressive record of 32 wins and 1 loss, and handed the Akron prodigy one of the few defeats in his high school career. After entering college, Anthony dominated every game. He led Syracuse University, which was ineligible to compete in the NCAA just a year ago, to their first ever championship in the NCAA. He himself was selected as the MOP. His mythical performance won him many top national titles. It's no wonder he was confident enough at the time to say, "I can defeat LeBron James anytime, anywhere." At the 2003 draft pick, Anthony sat in the front row, just to be on stage as soon as he heard his name. But James, sitting behind him, already knew what was going to happen, because the moment Cleveland pulled the number 1 pick, everyone already guessed the ending. As for the Detroit Pistons, who held the number 2 pick, Larry Brown originally considered Anthony as the best choice, but due to the lack of height in the Pistons' front court, and led by the German Panzer and the moving Great Wall, an influx of international players into the NBA. In the end, Detroit chose Darko Milicic, a superstar from Serbia. Anthony was very disappointed. He hadn't even heard of the name Milicic. What surprised him the most was Milicic, who averaged only 1.4 points and 1.3 rebounds, somehow won the NBA championship in his rookie season with the Civic 5 Tigers. Compared to him, Anthony, wearing the Nuggets battle robe, could dribble like a guard while also possessing the strength to confront centers. His decisive jump shots left defenders helpless. He swept the title of best rookie in the West for 6 months, with an average of 21 points per game, surpassing LeBron James, becoming the scoring king of his rookie season in the Platinum generation, guiding the Nuggets, who had only achieved 17 wins the previous season, to over 50% winning percentage for the first time in 8 years, and returning to the playoffs. However, in the Rookie of the Year voting that year, Anthony still lost to LeBron James, only one chosen son in the story of the unparalleled geniuses. In the 05-06 season, the league started to amend defensive rules to encourage offense. Under the new rules, players good at breakthroughs would find it easier to score high. LeBron James, in his 3rd year of his professional career, made it to the playoffs for the first time. Dwayne Wade even won the Finals MVP. However, Anthony still couldn't find a way out of the Wild West. Despite his title as the offensive force, he was criticized for lacking leadership ability. On December 16, 2006, the Denver Nuggets were playing the New York Knicks away, with 75 seconds left in the match. In the process of defense, Marty Collins used a chokehold on J.R. Smith, who was trying for a slam dunk. Anthony, as the team leader, punched without a word. From then on, that sweet smiling melon vanished, leaving only a ruthless street melon. Due to the influence from the Auburn Hills Palace, NBA's higher-ups had been trying to dispel the league's negative image. That's why Anthony's punch resulted not only in a 15-game suspension, but also his future. His path thereafter became even harder. Even in one incident where he was knocked unconscious for 35 seconds during a game, the referees chose to turn a blind eye, instead assigning Anthony with a label of unwillingness to defend. However, no one can always be subject to their own fate. Some people choose to pray to the heavens, while others choose to believe in themselves. 4 days later, to divert the fans' negative emotions, the Nuggets traded for 4-time scoring champion Allen Iverson, forming a golden duo that took the league by storm. At the time, Iverson averaged 31.2 points per game, ranking 2nd on the scoring leaderboard. while Anthony, with an average of 31.9 points, ranked first. In that season, Kobe, who had 4 consecutive games with more than 50 points, might ultimately have missed out on the scoring title if the duo hadn't joined forces. But the Golden Duo, despite leading the team, blasting an impressive average of 110.7 points per league game, and even in the regular season causing a massacre over the Sonics with a score of 168-112, ultimately failed to create any chemistry between them. In the 2 seasons with Iverson, the Nuggets had a record of just 1 win to 8 losses. Management chose to rebuild ruthlessly, even putting Anthony on the shelves. They negotiated fiercely with the Pistons. But when the dust settled, it was Iverson who eventually got traded away. As for the real change for Anthony, it came from the Olympic journey that summer. He learned from the Black Mamba that, to be a real hero, one often has no other choice. It's either succeed or perish. In the 2008 Beijing Olympics, as Kobe enjoyed the cheers of the Chinese fans alone, the powerful players of the 03 generation could hardly hide their dissatisfaction. At that time, Kobe had still not shed the reputation of having ousted O'Neal. In the 08 finals, the shadow of a terrible defeat against the Celtics also lingered. Even in Team USA, he didn't have any friends. In his own words, "I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to help you win that goddamn gold medal back." Anthony had participated in the 04 Olympics and the 06 World Championships. 2 bronze medals had smeared the reputation of the Dream Team and put Anthony in a difficult position. It wasn't until one early morning when he returned to the hotel from outside and bumped into Kobe, who was about to go to the weight room for exercise, that he realized why they had failed before. Not because of their abilities and skills, but due to their mental state. In the group match against Spain, Kobe knocked his Lakers teammate Gasol to the ground as soon as the game started. He told the young members of the Dream 8 team through his actions that to win, I can go to any lengths. In the grand finale against Spain, when Fernandez's dunk ignited the Bull Army's fighting spirit, it was Kobe who stood out, quieting the world in his peculiar way. This extreme personal heroism caused a ripple in Anthony's heart. Someday, I want to play such a match too. In the 08-09 season, the Lakers and Cavaliers dominated in their respective divisions. But in comparison to the clear demarcation in the East, the Wild West turned into a hot mess. Nuggets, Spurs, Blazers all had 54 wins and 28 losses, ranking 2nd to 4th respectively. And the 8th-ranked Jazz only had 6 fewer wins than them. In the first round of the playoffs, the Spurs, who were 3rd in the West, got eliminated by the Dallas Mavericks. The Trailblazers, 4th in the West, were also upset by the Rockets. And Anthony, entering the 6th year of his professional career, finally broke his first-round curse and casually treated Paul to a 58-point disaster. Billups, the late bloomer, organized the Nuggets offense in an orderly manner. Anthony finally got to enjoy the delights of one-on-one at the 45-degree angle. In the Western semifinals, the Nuggets used only 5 rounds to knock down the Mavericks, meeting the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. In the first battle, Kobe scored 40 points with 13 out of 28 shots. However, Anthony wasn't weak either. With 14 successful shots out of 20, he scored 39 points. But Ariza's fatal steal at the last moment gave the Lakers the upper hand. In the second battle, Anthony continued to increase his offensive aggression, earning 14 free throws and scoring the highest in the game, 34 points. The Nuggets snatched a victory from the Staples Center. After this, the physical confrontation between the two escalated greatly, to the point that it was hard to tell if they were playing ball or having a fistfight. And while fans were excited, the Zen Master was calmly analyzing the situation on the field. Given that Kobe was clearly at a disadvantage in terms of physique, continuing such a struggle would bring no advantage to the Lakers. So, he handed over the responsibility of defending Anthony to Ariza. Within the last 2 minutes of the third battle, Kobe single-handedly scored 8 points, leading the Lakers to a reversed victory. But then in the fourth battle, 7 players from the Nuggets scored in double figures, pulling off a resounding victory of 120-101. In the decisive battle, the first quarter ended with a tie of 25-25 for both teams. By the end of the first half, it was 56-56. After the third quarter, it was 76-76. As people were looking forward to a showdown between Anthony and the Black Mamba, Gasol and Odom dominated the basket, helping the Lakers take the match point with a score of 3-2. The sixth battle became a solo performance by Kobe, who scored 35 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists. The Nuggets' defense crumbled under his attack. However, this round of series made Kobe acknowledge Anthony's fighting spirit, a mutual respect among heroes. Their biggest common point is to never give up after a failure, but to start over, preferring to die standing than live kneeling. In the 09-10 season, Anthony still played strongly, but then George Karl had to step down because of his illness, and nobody in Denver was able to control this star. With the 2-4 defeat against the Utah Jazz in the first round of the playoffs, the management started to consider rebuilding. That summer, after Wade was eliminated by the Celtics, he made a fierce statement to the media. "This is my last time out in the first round." Not long after, super calculator Pat Riley settled Bosh's trade, and James also announced without delay, "I'm taking my talents to South Beach," seeing his former brothers gather in Miami. Anthony could no longer resist his desire to return to his hometown to play. But his contract was for 5 years. To go to New York, he had to go through the team trade. At that time, Anthony was at the peak of his career. The Nuggets would not easily let go of this valuable asset. But Anthony was quite adamant. In order to return to his hometown team as soon as possible, he even began to underperform, inadvertently hurting the hearts of Denver faithful. This impulsive decision not only made it impossible for his jersey to retire with the Nuggets, it also brought a sudden plummet in his career. The Knicks of the 90s, under the leadership of Ewing, competed for years with Jordan's entourage. While they failed to secure a championship, undeniably, they were a formidable power in the East. Yet entering the new century, this team saw a decade-long victory rate of less than 50%. They only managed to make it to the playoffs once. The management openly battled and schemed against each other, leaving the changing rooms in utter chaos. Just as he reached his prime, Anthony personally plunged himself into this living nightmare. In the 10-11 season, the Knicks were swept 0-4 by the Celtics in the first round. In the 11-12 season, they were defeated 1-4 by the Miami Heat in the first round. It was then that Anthony realized home wasn't always the haven he thought it was. In the face of the management's interests, loyalties in the game no longer existed. Hearts could be much darker than the streets of Baltimore. In the 12-13 season, Anthony hit his career peak. He became the second player in the history of the Knicks to win the season scoring title, following Bernard King. On April 3, 2013, the Heat, which held the league's best record, played a home match against the Knicks, the second best in the East. James and Wade watched from the wall. Feeling slighted, Anthony declared on the spot, "Tonight, I won't enter your paint." In the end, he scored 50 points on 26 of 18 shooting. But just when he was preparing for the playoffs, to continue the fight on the Southern Coast, he was defeated 2-4 by the Pacers in the Eastern semifinals. The Knicks plummeted into an abyss from that point, despite Anthony eventually scoring 62 points in the game against the Bobcats, setting a personal scoring record at Madison Garden. His career followed Iverson's old path ever since. As then Master became the president of Knicks, the team switched to the triangle offense under Fisher's management. Anthony, who was used to one-on-one combat, broke completely with the management. Since it always seemed to end in shattered dreams, why strive so hard? But the true meaning of life lies in the struggle. On December 10, 2017, Anthony, now donning the Thunder gear, took the court as a starter, commemorating his 1,000th start, and became only the second player after Patrick Ewing to start their first 1,000 professional games. However, the Thunder's record didn't meet expectations. After being knocked out in the first round of playoffs by Salt Lake City, Anthony found himself wandering again to the Houston Rockets. In the epic clash between Rondo and Paul, Anthony, usually the energetic one, played peacemaker. By that point, his younger, fiery days were behind him. His only aim, before he called an end to his career, was to hold that championship ring that truly belonged to him. Then came the era of sabermetric emphasis. The 45-degree showdown he excelled in became a low-efficiency scoring strategy. Seated on the Rockets' bench, Anthony observed the relentless pursuit for mismatch opportunities in the league around him. It made him deeply contemplative. Times had changed. The thrill of one-on-one matchups had become a thing of the past. In this era, peace brought wealth. Who would risk it all for a game, after all? During Wade's final tour, once together in the Banana Boat Brotherhood, they met again. Anthony, now without any balls to play, got past an out-of-bounds ball. Instinctively, he wanted to shoot. But suddenly he had the realization. He was merely a casually dressed spectator now. In that moment, Anthony awoke from his dream. He began constantly posting his training videos on social media, eagerly looking for an opportunity to return to the league. He lowered his pride to the dust. Just wanted to seize a chance to vindicate himself. Not to prove how incredible he was, but an inability to let go of his love for basketball. Fortunately, Anthony's wait wasn't in vain. The injury-ridden Trail Blazers offered him an opportunity, although Portland didn't have the ambition to win the supreme glory. But time, stop rushing. Dreams are still there to chase. August 23, 2020. With the Trail Blazers down 1-3, they found themselves on the edge of the cliff, facing a fully powered LeBron James. Both of Portland's main offensive weapons lost their accuracy. As it became apparent that the Blazers were running on empty, Anthony went back to his familiar 45-degree angle, using the strategies he's relied on his entire life. He knocked down all 6 attempts in a single quarter, scoring 13 points, forcing LeBron himself to play defense. In that moment, at 36, Anthony triumphed over his past self. This victory, more meaningful than solely beating thousands on the battlefield, solidified his status as a true hero. As we live our lives, not everyone can control their own destiny. We all must face many inevitable disappointments. But at least over the years, I've fought my battles. We can't always get what we want, but we strive to have a heart with no regrets.